seem to be getting any better. Yes, it has increased, but it hasn't increased by much. In 2010, they were at $20.87 billion, but in 2012, they've only risen about $3 billion from that rate.
Zambia is a landlocked country in sub-Saharan Africa and one of the poorest in the world. The average annual income is just $1,500, around 4% of the UK average. Life expectancy is less than 40 years, a tragic symptom of a country ravaged by HIV, with almost 15% of the population carrying the virus. Zambia's economic problems began in the 1970s when the prices for copper, their main export, slumped. To combat this deficit, the Zambian government borrowed heavily and by 2004 had debt totaling $7.1 billion. This was costing them $200 million a year to service, more than the country's entire budget for education.
On the other hand, a country like Paraguay has actually been improving economically, unlike Zambia. It has a population of about 6,541,000 people and a per capita GDP of $6,100. As you can see from the bridge that I'm standing on, Paraguay's infrastructure is definitely improving. I am also standing on the result of one of Paraguay's major industries, cement. Oh, look over there. It's arable land. Yay! Yay. This is Paraguay, another landlocked country. Let's compare the two countries, Zambia and Paraguay. Looking at the countries, one can see that a relationship exists between per capita GDP and standard of living. Paraguay's per capita GDP is $6,100, while Zambia's is a mere $1,700. The higher GDP of Paraguay is reflected in the overall greater literacy rate, the higher life expectancy, lower unemployment, and lower percentage of underweight children. Zambia does have a lot of resources, but other than mining these resources, they don't have the technology to use them or make them useful. On the other hand, Paraguay doesn't have as many resources, and they tend to focus more on agriculture, which is why they're able to feed their people. Daily life in Paraguay seems to be centered on farming, other than life in the city. Women are almost equal in society and are allowed to own land. Daily life in Zambia consists of probably working in a mine, and it includes the fact that women are not equal to men and not always allowed to own land. Paraguay seems to have the better quality of life because of the higher literacy rate, higher life expectancy, lower infant mortality, and lower unemployment. Both countries do not have that much leisure time, especially compared to the United States, because they have to work much longer hours than we do here. If you had to be poor, what country would you choose to be poor in? The United States, Paraguay, or Zambia? The answer to this question is quite simple, because poverty in the United States is much better than poverty in Zambia or Paraguay. Because in the United States, you have the government programs to help you out, you have the Lone Star card you can use to get food, you can go to a shelter for living space. There's so many other ways here to get around.